Today we're going to be making an antipasto salad. Now when people think antipasto, a lot of times they think something like this. A plate full of mixed vegetables or meats and cheeses, whatever it may be. And that can be very true when you're thinking an antipasto plate. For example, here's one with all of the meat on it. Now, we're going to be making an antipasto salad. And we're going to be using this ginormous platter, and we're going to be putting all of these wonderful things that you'd have on an antipasto plate onto a salad that we're going to be building up. Now, why this salad? Why antipasto? Well, it's almost Easter, and there was a tradition in my house growing up. My mother wasn't a big cook. She was a great baker, but not a great cook. And what would happen at Easter time, as well as Thanksgiving, is we would have this wonderful salad. It was the centerpiece of our meal. And so when my relatives would come over, her in-laws, everybody would marvel at this great salad that she put together. It was a way of my parents being able to show that they were doing well and they had the money to put into all these wonderful meats and cheeses and seafood and everything that goes into this salad, as well as a beautiful centerpiece for her to display what a wonderful wife she was and mother. So they weren't pretentious people, but it was just something that I recognize now as an adult and why they did it. So the tradition has continued. I make the antipasto salad, Nicole makes the antipasto salad, and we do this always for a holiday, and especially when we're taking this salad to someone else's home. It's such a lovely way to show that you really put some time and effort into it. The reason that I say time and effort is, look at the meats are all rolled, the cheeses are all cut. There's so many pieces and parts to this salad that there is something that everyone will like. Now, there will be some things that some people will hate, and that's okay. They just pick around it. So I'm going to begin assembling this salad. And what I want to show you is we're going to start with the lettuce first. So the base of the salad, and I'm just going to move this down, is always going to be the lettuce. So we've washed and dried our lettuce carefully. We're going to put it all out onto this platter, making sure that we reach out far to the edges, because as people serve this salad, they'll be coming in from the side. So we want to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of that green around the edge and on their salad. Now the other reason we want to do that is that we're going to need this center to hold almost all of the other heavier ingredients that will go into the middle. All right, so there we have it. We've got our greens laid down and distributed fairly evenly. Most important thing is make sure your greens are nice and dry so that this salad doesn't become wilty. You also don't want your lettuce to be big or tiny. You want them to be about medium size so that as people scoop, they will pull that lettuce off onto their plate. The way the salad gets put together is you do all of your vegetables, your fresh vegetables first. Then you start layering in the canned and roasted vegetables second. Lastly, you do your meats and cheeses, and on the very top, you do your fish and seafood layer. So let's talk about what I have today that I'm putting in this salad. So for my green layers, obviously the lettuce. I didn't have cucumber, but I did have zucchini. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle this zucchini just evenly throughout so that everybody gets a little bit of that zucchini. All right, so when I'm done with that, it doesn't have to be perfect. We will also layer some celery, because celery is a nice crunchy aspect to the salad. I had that in the fridge, and I think that's where antipasto kind of came from. It was kind of what might be in the fridge left over, and that you needed to use up, and that made the whole idea. I also did some broccoli, and what I did to make my broccoli nice and green and not just raw was I blanched it in the microwave for just a couple of moments and then dropped it into some really icy cold water so that it would stay nice and green. I cut up some bell pepper, which is just left raw, and because we're doing things in different shapes, look, I can just layer my bell pepper, pointing them outward, and do all kinds of fun things to make this look really pretty. I also did the asparagus, and I did that the same way I did the broccoli. I put the asparagus right into the microwave for less than a minute and a half, and then just blanched it right into blanched it with the cold water. So I blanched it and then ice bathed it, excuse me. All right, so I can lay the asparagus this way. I can decide if I want to maybe cut them up, but I think I'm just gonna layer them. I think probably layering them this way might be more fun. And see, here's the idea of the antipasto salad is that you can move this around and do anything you want with it to make it look fun and beautiful. And as people delve into this salad, they get surprised by what's in it. It's like, wow, there's asparagus in there, who knew? So anyway, we went ahead and we put in our green layers. And as you can see, I can bring this a bit closer so that you can kind of get the idea of how beautiful that's starting to look right now. And it doesn't even have the special ingredients on it. All right, let's come back and continue to add in our fresh vegetables, but this time we need to add in some color. So I have carrots, I had some cherry tomatoes, and I also had a regular tomato. So we'll go ahead and we'll just pop those on, and we'll spread those where we think we might like to see those. Just spreading some color, making this just kind of even so that everybody gets a little taste of something. And again, it doesn't have to be this large, but I happen to be making this antipasto today for a friend's birthday. So we are going to Simon's birthday. I know Simon does, and his wife Laura do subscribe to Love of Food, so I know you're going to see this, but hopefully you won't see it until after your event, because I want this to kind of be a surprise for you. And Simon, I know you won't like everything that's in here, but I know that some of this will just be wonderful and a treat. All right, I also have some of these wonderful little carrots that I sliced thin. I didn't cook them. I happen to think a raw carrot tastes rather nice, and it adds a little bit of crunch in the salad. So I'm already making my salad colorful, bright, vibrant, crunchy, and all of those wonderful things that you want to have in any salad. All right, I also have some of these nice little red roasted peppers that are raw. I mean red peppers that were raw, so we're going to add in a little bit of those. A lot of people don't like raw red pepper, so I won't add much. And again, we're just going to sprinkle that around. Now, what you're going to see me do next is hold back the onion. I like to top my salad with the onion. And the reason that I like to do it on the top, I actually do it right over the seafood layer, is that a lot of people don't like red onion, or they don't want to eat it in public, so that way they have the opportunity to pick it off and move it over and continue in with the salad. If you want to put yours on the bottom, that's fine. You can put it in with the fresh vegetables too. All right, so just to give you an idea of how this is looking thus far, I'll bring it over. And look how beautiful that salad is, how it's coming. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a slight break. I'm going to come back and get some photos of how the salad looks as we're constructing it. So for those people who don't have time to watch the video and kind of look at the salad and kind of follow along before I cover it up with all the rest of these wonderful, yummy ingredients. So we'll be back in just a minute after. All right, we're back. I don't know what happened a minute ago. I think I lost some video, but that's okay. As you can see, we've started building up our antipasto. We've been layering in all those. We did all the fresh vegetables first, and then we added in some of the canned vegetables, and we're just going to continue through with adding in some roasted red pepper. I also have some lovely beets here. We're going to put those beets. I'm going to move the beets a little bit towards the center, and only because they tend to turn everything else the color of beets. And for those of you who do not like beets, you can certainly pick right around them. So these are just canned beets that I found, and I'm like, okay, we'll just stick those in there, and some lucky people, as they scoop, will get some beet. And those who want to pick from the outer edges will not, and that's all right. Okay, so let's continue with some of this roasted red pepper. Just place all of this on. And the bigger pieces, I'm going to put up higher. And the smaller little pieces, I'll put closer to the edge. But you're kind of getting the idea that this is a very layered, high flavor, crowd pleaser of a salad. And again, now you see why my mother's antipasto was a showcase. Now I found these peppers. I like these. These are a more of a hot pepper, but not too hot. We're just going to place those around. Give this salad a little kick. They're like a cherry pepper. So if you've had those before, you know they have a little bite to them, but not too bad. And we'll go ahead and just drop those in. And I have these wonderful chickpeas, olives, caper berries, and capers. So I'm going to go ahead and put some chickpeas on here now, only because I think that that is a good way to kind of evenly distribute them so that they don't roll all over the place, because all of this round stuff can roll, right? It can be a big problem when you're carrying this salad. So we've got some chickpeas in there, and you don't want anybody to get a spoonful of chickpeas. You want them to have a few chickpeas. Adds a little bit of crunch. And for those of you who don't call them chickpeas, we call them garbanzo beans. Now the caper berries, they're very unique. So I'm going to leave these and place them strategically at the end. But I will drop in these green olives. These green olives have pits in them. You can use the ones without the pits. I just want to use these up that I happen to have in my fridge. So I bought some with the pits on, and that's what we're going to use. Again, utilizing what you have on hand. Now I have some nice Kalamata olives. Let's pop those on. I'm reserving the black olives for the very end, and you'll see why. So again, I'm going to reserve now I've lost an olive. That's how we do that. Now you see why I want to get them on fairly early before I put any of the other stuff on. But those really nice black olives, not the Kalamatas, the regular black olive, you'll see I'm going to use those along with my salami at the end. I think it's time to go ahead and drop the marinated mushrooms on. Okay. We'll strategically place those. And now we're ready to start looking at some of the cheeses and some of our meats as well. So I buy this provolone cheese. It is just deli provolone cheese. And I just slice it into these nice little strips, and I place that all around the salad, just so that when people get a scoopful of that salad, they have a little bit of nice, mild, but tasty, salty provolone. I also get some sharp, what they call a picante provolone, which is the real Italian provolone. And I add that in as well. I'll just drop that in as I go. And you'll see me do that in just a second once I get all of this nice sliced provolone onto the salad. You can move it into the middle if you want as well. Any place that you can find room where you can place that. Maybe I'll move that one out and just put these little rounded pieces in the middle. That's kind of makes more sense to me. Get some nice few more rounded ones. I like cheese in a salad, especially an Italian salad. It just really complements everything. All right, so here's that really sharp picante provolone. And we will place that around. And the funny thing is when people first bite into that sharp provolone, they make a funny face because, oh, it's strong. But let me tell you, once you start mixing it with a little piece of onion or some pepper or some salami or another piece of maybe sweet pickle or maybe the asparagus or whatever else is in here that you have, that picante just really pops and adds so much flavor. It really enhances the flavor. All right, so I think that's enough picante on there. Got a few more handfuls of it. I've already cut it, so there's no sense wasting it. There we go. All right, now we've got it all on there. Next, you can see I have these lovely little quail eggs. My neighbor gives me quail eggs, and so I'm going to add these lovely little eggs and just kind of place them around on the salad as well. You could use regular boiled chicken eggs. I just thought the quail eggs would kind of be fun. And just place them strategically about. I know it's probably boring watching me make this. I know it's okay. You can fast forward and come back later and see the finished product. I'm not insulted if that's what you want to do. Once I start this, because I'm touching food, it's hard for me to stop the video and then keep going. So if you want to skip forward, go ahead and do it. All right, now we have got a nice rounded antipasto going. I think it's time for me to start thinking about some of the capers that I have in my bowl. So I have these little capers. I'll spread those about. I'm trying to put them more to the middle, but you know, we can put them anywhere. As you can see, I'm dropping some chickpeas as I drop those capers, and that's okay. But we are going to reserve the caper berries. These lovely little guys. We might put those up on the top or put them together when we decorate the top of this. All right, we have some other things to add in right now. We have our meats. Next, I'm going to go with the pepperoni that I sliced. I tried to slice it as thin as I could. And we just kind of place that around. People like the taste of pepperoni. Most people will be happy to see that in there. Layer that up. And I have been known to do some other shapes too. So this one is a round antipasto. I've also done some designs on the top of these. I'm going to try and do one for Easter that will let you see that is an Easter bunny. I did it years ago and the kids loved it. They thought it was fabulous. All right, so I got my pepperonis on there. I also have some roast beef that I got at the deli, and I just had them slice it as thin as possible. And I rolled that into these lovely little shapes. Sometimes my husband and I will make a small version of this, not with all this many ingredients, because obviously I'm doing this to please a crowd, but we'll just take our favorite ingredients and we will have this for dinner. This and a little bit of bread. Now, it brings me to kind of have a discussion with you. How do you dress this salad? Some of you may be thinking, what in the world could you possibly put on that salad that would not take away from all those wonderful flavors? And this, by the way, is a Serrano ham. You could use prosciutto as well. Serrano ham tastes like prosciutto. It's on that same idea. It's a very smoky ham. So that is going to add in for to these flavors. And so, all right, let's talk about dressing the salad. When you dress an antipasto, you're not going to want to put anything heavy like a Caesar dressing on it, or you're not going to want to put something creamy on it either. That wouldn't work. What you're going to want to do is more of a basic olive oil and vinegar dressing, so a vinaigrette. Balsamic works. That might even be a little overkill. So I would suggest perhaps just mixing up some basic oil and vinegar. And that's the way I would dress my antipasto. All right, notice I reserved the salami. Why did I reserve the salami? Because you're going to see at the very end, that's how I'm going to make this really pretty and pull this together. But first I have my fish layers that I need to add. So I've got the shrimp. The shrimp isn't that off-putting. Most people will pick around it if they don't like it. What I think I will do today is, just to be nice to folks, I will put my shrimp all on one side, just in case anybody has any allergies or doesn't want to have that shrimp taste on anything. So that's all on one side of the salad. You don't have to do this, and after people start digging in, it's probably going to mix anyway, but I've put that down that end. I am going to take my tuna, because this is just tuna from the can, and I'm going to put it right up on in the middle, up against the side where the shrimp is. So somebody doesn't like that, again, the seafood taste, they don't have to have that on this side. And my husband would be one of those. All right, so here's a controversial item, anchovies. People somewhat are disgusted by these, and others love them. One thing I did read recently is that they're really good for you. So I'm going to go ahead and add them. Typically, I wouldn't do these long pieces. I would do the round ones with the capers in them. However, this is what I had in the pantry. So this is what we opened up and what we'll use. So we'll go ahead and just put our fish layers in on that side. And now everybody will be happy with the bite that they get. And again, if they don't like the anchovy, they can pick around it. It's not a big deal. All right, we're almost done. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take my salami that I have cut. I'm going to show you how I cut it. I just made a slit. All right, see, just one slit in that meat. And then that way, what it allows me to do is to roll it like that. And I can pop a pretty little olive in it so it almost looks like a flower. And this is one of the ways that I'm going to make my antipasto look pretty. And I'll just keep popping in those black olives, that salami, and then the olive sits in there nicely, doesn't roll off the plate because I've anchored it inside the salami. And another reason why I left some divots here. And salami tastes wonderful in this salad, especially with that provolone cheese. So it's a nice addition. And I like the way the black olives look. You could have used the green olives. You could have used anything that was round in the salad to make it look beautiful. Inside the salami to make it look like a flower. But I kind of like that. So we're going to keep going with that one. And then I'll decide where I want to strategically place those caper berries. So I may put them on the very top, like I said. I may put them up to the side. I haven't quite decided what I want to do to make this look beautiful. You don't have to fold your salami this way. Again, you could have sliced it and layered it like everything else. Would have been fine. Or, again, like I said, you could come in here and just pop it together any way that you want. It doesn't have to be all that fancy for it to taste good. So if you're someone thinking, I would never go to all this work to make a salad, don't worry about it. Then don't. You can always just cut up these ingredients and just put them in a wonderful little salad. Put it in a mason jar. Take it to work with you. There's all kinds of little things you can do with these flavors. As a matter of fact, when I make this salad, there'll be some left over, and we will definitely be doing that. We'll have it just any old way. We won't have to have it so fancy, just to have it at home. All right, so I need some more black olives, which I have in the fridge, so I'll get those and just keep filling in here. Let's go ahead and put the caper berries. I'm going to do 3 because I think things always look better in 3. I'm just going to strategically place them not near an olive. How about over here where I don't have any salami right now? And maybe over here. And there you have it. You have a wonderful Italian antipasto salad. Oh, I forgot my onions. I knew I forgot something. Didn't seem right. See, not having enough olives kind of threw me off. This is what I do with the onion. See how easy it is for people to just go ahead and pick it off? And when I put the onion on this way, that way, again, people don't want it. They can kind of go around it. You don't want a ton of onion, but a little onion adds some flavor. So I could have done it just before the salami. I could have done it just after the salami. It's entirely up to you how you want to bring that onion in there. You could make a ring with the salami and then, ring with the onion and then do the salami inside of it. Whatever makes the most sense. I hope that you've enjoyed watching how to make a really great antipasto salad. Thanks for watching For the Love of Food.